Hi there YouTube, this is the Magnus bringing you another Total War Warhammer online ladder battle. Today my opponent chose the Dwarfs, so I figured what the heck, let's bring the Beastmen. So I brought one Cygor, one Razor Gore. I brought 3 of their terrible archer units because I'm terrified of Gyrocopters, which he didn't bring. I also brought 2 Bestigor and 4 of the Gore Herd, which I put out on the flanks. I brought my 2 Gorbulls, of course, and I brought Malagor the Dark Omen with just the spell for summoning another Cygor, because I know the artillery of any sort is generally very effective against the Dwarfs. So I have a long front line, archers behind, and I have the Razor Gore way off on the edge because I want to try some tricky stuff with that. My opponent chose to deploy in a very unusual position, trying to take a hill and perhaps give him a forest path to avoid any range, so that may have been what he was thinking here. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 Longbeards up front. He's got a Thane. He's got Ungor Iron Fist, the Slayer King. He's got 2 Quarrelers. And then it looks like he did some spend here. He went with a Runesmith, an Iron Drake, a Hammerer, another Longbeard in the back, and then Slayers way back. And so some expensive units from the Dwarfs, which I generally shy away from. I find that the cheaper units, like their Dwarf Warriors and their Longbeards, are generally the way to go, and just put more units on the field. So he's going to start to approach, and I'm going to push up as well. The Beastmen are always eager for a fight. I have a lot of different control groups here, so you're going to see things kind of move in waves. But of course the Cygor is going to be told to start chucking those giant rocks as soon as he can. And it looks like my opponent, and you're going to see him do this, he's going to come up through the forest, which, considering I have artillery and he doesn't, is a very good move. I push up the Razor Gore thinking, somebody might get ahead, he might get carried away and not issue a proper order, and somebody might get ahead of the rest of the guys, but that's not going to happen, unfortunate. So the Cygor is going to start chucking rocks here. Nice hit there on the Longbeards. So good way to open this engagement. Now, one thing I don't like that he did is he blobbed up here. Anytime you're facing artillery or strong AoE spellcasting, the last thing you want to do is give them a bunch of targets all next to each other. So you see the Cygor misses there. Here after a bit I'll be able to summon another one, but it does take like 28 winds of magic, so it can take a while to spin that bad boy up. Let's see how our Cygor's doing so far. 7 kills. Okay, that's definitely going to boost that number. Nice shot by the Cygor. 24. You got to think about trying out for the Yankees. He throws a mean fastball right down the middle of their army there. Good stuff. And somehow his Slayers got way behind the rest of his guys, and I think that's potentially a mistake. If I had more Razor Gores or Centaurs or something like that, I could definitely take advantage of the fact that he doesn't have his anti-large with him. And the other thing is I could hit these guys, because Slayers should never be allowed to take a charge. They will get absolutely wrecked. It doesn't matter what it's against. They're a counter charge unit, not a charger. So you see my other Cygor comes rising up out of the ground. He's going to heft up his rock. He's going to try his best toss here, but he's going to hit a tree, which is why it was a really good move for him to head towards the forest. It's going to give him that protection. And as you see, my Ungor Raiders do not have a lot of range. They haven't fired yet. And even when they do, they're not going to be effective because of this forest, because of the high armor of the Dwarfs, and the fact that they are just not a very good unit. But again, I brought them specifically to deal with Gyrocopters. So will that 1,200 of spend on something that's not going to do much, is that going to cost me the game? Maybe. Let's find out. So he's going to make a concerted effort to push towards my line. The Cygor, a little high there, a little bit outside. See if we can't do better. And I'm going to let him push, because once he breaks this tree line, I like the fact that I can start to shoot. So you're going to see Cygor, right in the side of the hill. Not a good one. Oh, too high, but it looks like he clipped the Hammerers there, so not all was lost. Now I'm late getting my counter charge going, so this Bestigor is going to get charged unchallenged. But then you're going to see the counter charge come in. Ungrim's going to go right into the mix. Don't expect Bestigors to give him too much trouble, and you can see they take a good bit of damage right out the gate. Charging all along the lines. this unit's trying to wrap its way around. These rocks on the battlefield, I absolutely hate them. The pathing is terrible. Now, since he put Ungor right up front, I decided, well, let's give him the Gore Bowl treatment, have them get in there and try to wipe him out early. And of course, they love any opportunity they get to do their little barrel roll there. In the forest over here, my Razor Gores got right into his Slayers, which they took a lot of damage off the charge, which really is going to cut them down to size. You know, trading a Razor Gore that cost 800 for 1,000 Slayer and keeping him way out on the end of the battle, I'm fine with that. His Trollhammer Torpedoes are firing, but I'm going to send Mr. Gorbol here to pay them a visit. One they're not going to enjoy. Looks like, is that a head? I think that's a head. Poor guys. Oh, look at that. Just, you know, and that's the problem when you bring these really expensive dwarf units, especially like these Iron Drakes. They have so few units, so if they get somebody like a Gorbol in there, which is very easy to do because you don't have enough mass to stop him, it's going to be a nightmare. So now I send in the Centaurs into melee combat to really dish out the fear and to try to spike Ungor Iron Fist, who is very low on health. He's fighting bravely as he always does, and he can definitely dish out damage. And he has some useful abilities. You see Foe Seeker, Stand Your Ground, Axe of Dargo. He busts out all the stops in an effort to try to survive. The Gorbols are going to help pincer him in here, and yeah, that's going to be all she wrote for the Slayer King, I believe. Oh, no, he's still on his feet. Look at him. He's a bloody mess. He's almost out of health, but he's not going to give up. He's now down to, looks like, what, 75 health? Alright, 44. Still hanging in there. But we're really going to snuff him out, and that's going to be pretty much all she wrote for the Dwarfs. No more Slayer King. And, you know, to be honest, just, yeah, look at these guys. The Ungor Raiders. 1 kill, 0 kills. Now, I did have them firing at his leader units and stuff like that when they could, but they're just not good, especially against the Dwarfs. Lack of armor piercing is really going to hurt them. So his Thane is really the last holdout here. He does have an advantage over here in the woods, but his guys are just giving up. They see the Cygors coming in, and you're going to see just a chain rout happens there. So let's take a look at the tail of the tape. Our Gorbols did what they do, which is they're very disruptive, and you can basically send them like a heat-seeking missile right towards the units you want to take out. And that's a big part of what makes the Gorbol absolutely fantastic and one of my favorite units to use. The Gore Herd did just fine. They're very offensive and aggressive. They're the polar opposite of what the Dwarfs are, and it worked out pretty well. Best Gore did well. Again, the Ungor Raiders, absolutely worthless for all practical purposes. And, you know, that's, I can't recommend picking a unit like them just because you're afraid of somebody bringing out the gyrocopter spam. That's just kind of silly. But I got away with it here. The Razor Gore Herd took care of the Slayers, which is what I wanted them to do. This Cygor had 57 kills. Don't know about the other one, but that's pretty good considering the terrain. If we take a look at the Dwarfs, the Longbeards did fine, you know, for their price for the most part. Now, some of them obviously got severely outmatched, but we look at the Slayers, 37 kills. Were they worth it? Not really. Hammers, not worth it. Iron Drakes, definitely not worth it. He was completely unable to protect his Quarrelers, so they did nothing. And his you know, Runesmith and Thane and Ungrim, he put them up front way too fast, and they got smashed. Now, I want to say good game to my opponent. He definitely was a little more creative than most Dwarfs, and he kind of paid for it here. My suggestion is, you know, these high-priced units, bring 1 at most, maybe 2, and make sure you can protect them. Otherwise, you know, you're just chasing good money after bad. The Beastmen against the Dwarfs, generally I'd say I favor the Beastmen, but it's not, you know, it's not ridiculous like when the Dwarfs get stuck facing the Empire or something like that. So anyways, again, good game to my opponent. This is the Magnus. If you enjoyed the video, or if you learned something here, please hit that like button. Please hit subscribe. We're getting close to 200 subscribers. I know we're getting close to the announcement of the next DLC. We're going to do that as a giveaway for our 100, 200 subscriber mark. So that's going to be a lot of fun. There's still a lot of other cool things coming your way that I'm working on right now. Oh, I forgot. You guys wanted to see where I am on the leaderboard, which I always forget to show you. So my position... Oh, still not in the top 100, 101 with 304 wins. But still happy with the rank. Anyways, I'll see you guys soon. Take care.